10 News begins with breaking news.
Yeah, the breaking news is in Bankers Hill. Streets are blocked off there because a person has been firing shots. I'm Virginia Cha.
And I'm Jason Martinez. 10 News has crews around the area of Laurel and Brant, just east of I-5. Let's go right now to 10 News reporter Marie Cornell. What do you know, Marie?
Well, Jason, we know police are inside of the building. You can see all the police tape, all the police officers down that way. About 10 minutes ago, I heard from a police officer saying that more shots were fired inside just as they were getting ready to deploy the gas. Now, let me show you. We were standing right over here on this sidewalk when officers asked us to move out of the way because they said we were in direct line of sight of the shooter. And then seconds after he asked us to leave, this is what we heard. You heard the gunshots and you saw, our photographer even going down with the camera just as officers are telling everyone to take cover. All of this because a man was threatening to shoot people. We're told he's on the very top floor of one of the buildings in Bankers Hill. Two schools in this area are on lockdown because of this: Washington Elementary and City Tree Christian. Obviously a scary situation for everyone around, especially for a mom who has a child at one of those schools.
I was scared because the school isn't that far from here. We walk there every morning. We walk to and from school. So my first, obviously is for my daughter and all the children as well.
Now, about 30 minutes ago, we did see San Diego Police Chief Shelley Zimmerman arrive. We saw her speaking to officers, also speaking to other folks that are in this area. We saw her walk down that street. Right now, they still have us back past this line, so we're kind of just waiting to see what's happening. But again, we have heard that police are inside of that building, and just about 10 minutes ago we are told that shots were fired inside of there. Guys.
All right, Marie. Meantime, 10 News reporter Melissa Masiha was already in that area before it was blocked off. We want to hear from her.
Yeah, she's just a few blocks away from these live pictures. And Melissa, we heard the gunshots from Marie Cornell. Did you hear them too?
Yeah, I'm in a different spot than Marie, and I did hear sounds. I'm in a different area, so it was unclear if they were gunshots or some other device, but definitely a lot of people in the area. I talked to several witnesses. They heard it, too. They did think it was gunshots. At this point, we're still looking into that. But what I can tell you here is I was actually heading to court for a separate story when I saw police officers rush by with their lights and sirens, and so I found out about the shots fired. I went to this area here and got there before any perimeter was even set up. Shortly after, same situation with Marie, they quickly pushed us back, saying that the person firing had a long-range rifle and that if we could see the building, we are in the line of sight. So they pushed me back. They also rushed some witnesses back. And then after that, they set up the police case. So it was a very chaotic scene. I can tell you right now, my car is actually still blocked off because I was so near the building. So I can't even access that. All I was able to do, I grabbed my purse and my phone, and that was basically about it. So
let's get back to our breaking news right now in Bankers Hill, where there's an active shooter in this area right near Lindbergh Field. City Tree Christian School, Washington Elementary in that area, both on lockdown. But we're also being told that no arriving flights are now being allowed in to the airport. We have Steve Fiorina, reporter, on the phone. What are you seeing from your angle, Steve?
I'm in the cell phone lot, and it is almost completely packed. There are many people here standing around, bolts to their ears, looking around, wondering what's going on. I talked to a few of them who said I've been 30 minutes, 45 minutes, no idea what was going on. I couldn't explain to one, and go, that makes sense. That tells me now what is happening. They're trying to be patient, and
we want to get you back to this breaking story on Bankers Hill. Let's go to 10 News reporter Marie Cornell because she has an update. What's going on now, Marie?
So, Virginia, we're now hearing that police officers are staging as if this man is going to surrender. We understand they've been on the phone with him this entire time, so they are in place. But so far, the man has not yet surrendered. They're just in place. Again, about 15 minutes ago, we heard those flashbangs. They said they were deploying more gas, but officers did say that guy was still firing inside of the building. But again, right now, they are staging in place just in case this guy does give himself up. And we're watching it from a distance.
Yeah, a very tense situation. And of course, when officers first arrived at this domestic call, somebody was firing at them. And so this is how this all started. Stand by, Marie, and we're gonna get back to you as soon as you have some more information.
Other breaking story, only 10 News cameras were there when the man at the center of a 5-hour standoff at Bankers Hill was brought to the hospital by San Diego police. Titus Colbert was taken into custody this afternoon, and police now are revealing he was armed with an AK-47 and a handgun, firing shots from inside this apartment complex. It also locked down nearby streets and even disrupted flight operations at Lindbergh Field.
We have a team of reporters working all angles of this story for you. We begin with 10 News reporter Hannah Mullins. Hannah?
And it is a big relief for people who are right now being let back into this area. And I'll tell you, they went running out in their robes and without shoes. We talked to one guy who lives right next door and was nearly hit.
So it was no further away than 1 foot or 2 feet away. It's about head level. Had I been sitting in my balcony chair, it'd come right through my head, absolutely.
But that was just the beginning, and Tom knew was next door to the suspected gunman.
I was scared and I have some anxiety problems, so my heart was racing.
He grabbed his phone, crawled in the bathtub, and called 911.
I'd stayed in the bathtub for 30 or 40 minutes, laying down inside my tub.
You could have been shot.
Absolutely, I was afraid of being shot, absolutely.
This force headed for the apartment as deadly bursts of bullets flew from it. Snipers held their positions as officers tried to negotiate with Titus Colbert. But for about 5 hours, a mix of shots, flashbangs, and gas filled the air. At the same time, SWAT officers quietly got neighbors like New away from the loaded guns.
They put their hands on me, told me to be quiet, and they had a plan absolutely laid out, handed me from SWAT officer to SWAT officer.
And then they got his next door neighbor. And there's still a lot out here to investigate. It is just amazing, though, none of those neighbors or officers were hurt today. We're live in Bankers Hill. Hannah Mullins, 10 News.
Yeah, that's the amazing part, Hannah. 10 News anchor Atika Milanes is joining us tonight. Atika, San Diego police say this gunman fired off dozens of shots.
He sure did. Within the last hour, Cam, I want to point out that Calmia here at Curlew has reopened, so the scene is starting to clear out. There is still a police presence here, though. Chief Zimmerman said that a woman called 911 this morning just after 9 o'clock saying she thought her ex-boyfriend was in her apartment. When police arrived, this is what happened.
Back up! Back up!
Now, police say the ex-boyfriend identified as Titus Colbert had an AK-47 and a handgun, started firing a bunch of shots at police, missing officers by just inches. That is when they told everyone, move back. Reporters dropping to the ground, police taking cover behind their cruisers, and the shots from the gunman just kept on coming, dozens of them. This standoff went on for about 5 hours. In the last 60 minutes, Chief Zimmerman talked about her department's strategy in getting this guy to come out.
We had been talking with him. Our emergency negotiation team had been talking with him. Also, officers that were on scene through a bullhorn had been talking to him. We gave him, for a long time, very methodical instructions to make sure that he throws the weapons outside. He does not come out with any weapons. And it took several hours, but eventually he did throw the weapons outside, and he did peacefully surrender, and he was taken into custody.
So Colbert was taken to UCSD Medical Center. We don't know if he was injured. Once he is released, he is going to be charged with several counts, one including attempted murder of a police officer. We're live in Bankers Hill. Atika Milanes, 10 News.
Bankers Hill, people finally allowed to return home after police say this man was armed and holed up in an apartment complex for 5 hours.
10 News reporter Hannah Mullins is live in Bankers Hill. And Hannah, you spoke to a woman whose husband has Alzheimer's, and he was terrified.
Absolutely. At one point, her voice was shaking, but not because she was scared, because she was so grateful for police protecting them.
Well, I'm happy, very happy to be home. And
Susanna Morton didn't know if that would happen. She tried to comfort her husband, who has Alzheimer's, but the gunshots kept sounding.
Come on, my love. You get here. Here.
It started when police responded to a domestic violence call. They say Titus Colbert fired and almost hit an officer, so they fired back. And boy, did they bring backup. Some took a deadly stance. Others gently and calmly helped neighbors out.
Well, we got out. And thanks to them, they helped me with him.
It was a terrifying 5 hours before police finally got the guy who made the Mortons and so many others worry today would be their last.
I'm so grateful to the police.
And during the news conference, I asked an officer what it was like on a personal level. You could tell he was worried. He said it is actually life-threatening, and not all officers who do go in come out. We're live in Bankers Hill. Hannah Mullins, 10 News.
He fired shots from a Bankers Hill apartment, causing a 5-hour standoff just up the road from the airport.
Our reporters continue to learn more about what happened. Let's begin with 10 News reporter Hannah Mullins, who caught up with one neighbor who isn't surprised that the man went off. Hannah.
And she said she's been just sitting in her car before he's come up and pounded on the window, which scared her. She also said he was out here last night acting strange.
It's like being in the movies. You know, it doesn't seem real.
Erica Barabbas said it was a lot less glamorous.
Been out here since 9 o'clock this morning with no makeup on. Nothing.
There wasn't time to worry. Some were wearing robes, others weren't wearing shoes. And then there was Titus Colbert, the suspected bad guy. It all started when police responded to a domestic violence call at an apartment. Officers say he fired at an officer, so they fired back. Tom New was next door and a bullet blew through his apartment. He hid in the bathtub until SWAT officers quietly snuck him out.
They put their hands on me, told me to be quiet, and they had a plan absolutely laid out, handed me from SWAT officer to SWAT officer.
Police seemed to try everything short of killing Colbert to take control. They repeatedly gassed the place, fired off flashbangs, and tried to talk him out. 5 hours later, he was out and in front of our camera.
I saw him last night when I came home. It was about 12:30. He was crossing the street and he was dancing around.
But here, he was in handcuffs, and that's an ending Barabbas liked.
He deserves to be in custody. He's crazy.
And I could tell officers who were out here were worried because not all who go in do come out. It made me think of Officer Chris Wilson. He gave his life during a similar standoff almost exactly 5 years ago. We're live in Bankers Hill. Hannah Mullins, 10 News.
And all of the travel problems caused when flights were diverted from landing at Lindbergh Field. Steve?
And it's not over yet. At least 30 flights canceled, 30 more diverted. People on the ground in Phoenix, in Burbank, Ontario, Portland, Seattle, many wanting into San Diego and others wanting to get out. Vacation's over and you're ready to board a jetliner home, but your flight's delayed or canceled. William Clark, his wife and son were just told they'll have to find a room and stay an extra night.
Our flight's been canceled, so now we're kind of stuck here till tomorrow. We're missing work. We have to put up a hotel tonight, which the airlines is not paying for, so kind of stuck.
PA announcements at Lindbergh were frequent.
Well, unfortunately, this has been going on for a couple hours.
Well, it just got a little bit worse. I'll probably be here for another 6 hours.
Bad news for hundreds of travelers, but not all. Ticket agents were constantly working the long lines leading up to the counters, finding ways to help locate a later flight.
So far, so good. So we're hoping we make it home.
And you're looking at the line of people, many of these folks just now getting here, having expected to be here hours ago. When will this all get back to normal? That's a good guess. Maybe not till tomorrow. If you are planning to come down tonight to pick up, give yourself some extra time. Live at Lindbergh Field, Steve Fearing at 10.